I'm here with my 2022 Telluride, and I bought this car without a tow package just because I had an opportunity to get it without having to wait, because these cars are difficult to get. So the only thing it didn't have was the tow package. In a previous video, I installed the OEM hitch and the 7-pin connector, so you'll be able to see that if you need to. But today what I want to do is I want to install a brake controller. Okay, one of the things I tow is a landscape trailer with brakes, so I need the brake controller. So this is a Draw-Tite brake controller, pretty generic thing, and I've had this in a couple previous vehicles and I really had no problem mounting it. The last vehicle was a Tahoe, but the Telluride has a much smaller space, and just the way things are laid out, it's just more of a challenge to figure out how to mount this without getting in the way of my feet and legs as I'm driving. So I think I did come up with a good option, so I'm going to show you that in a second. Alright, let me show you what my thoughts are for a solution here. Maybe you won't like this idea, maybe you can come up with a better idea. For me, I think this is going to work best. Okay, so what I did was I bought a replacement fuse cover. Okay, my thought is that I will mount the brake controller to the fuse cover, and what I have to do is find the plug for the brake controller behind here, and what's going to happen is this plugs into the brake controller. It gets attached to the harness that plugs into the brake controller plug that when I find it back there. So I'll cut this harness all down, solder it together, and what I'll be able to do is just when I want to tow, I'll have this replacement fuse cover with the brake controller and the cable. So I'll just plug in the plug and put the fuse cover on when I need to tow, and when I don't need to tow, I'll remove it and I'll put my replacement cover on. And what I can do is just store this in the car. So if I ever need to tow, I'll just grab it, plug it in. I'll have to locate the plug, put it someplace where I can get at it very easily, and just swap this out. So that's my plan. Let me start to mount this and install it, and we can see how to do that. Okay, hopefully you can follow where I'm going with this. So here I am outside the fuse box, and I'm coming underneath the dash, and I'm now looking up underneath the fuse box. And if we keep going back here, and I can't even see this, but I can feel it, there is a plug that seems to be taped up here. I'm hoping the camera can catch it. So what I'm going to do is get the camera out of the way. I'm going to reach up and see if I can pull that plug down. That's the brake controller. You can see that I've got the connector unraveled here. Okay, so let's go back and look at the other harnesses. Alright, here are the wiring harnesses. This is the brake controller harness, came with this. This is going to get attached here, and this whole thing is the OEM wiring harness. Now this came with the tow hitch. When I bought the hitch and the 7-pin connector, they give you this. So we're going to make that connection there, and this is the OEM plug that will plug into that pigtail that we just unfastened and kind of pulled down behind there. So I just need to figure out a way where I have the connector easily accessible, and I can just pull the door off and make that connection when I need to tow. When I'm not towing, I'll just disconnect everything and store it in the car. Alright, we're at the workbench, so we're going to install this mounting bracket to the door here, and it just uses 2 screws, so I've got to find some good, hopefully plastite type screws, and if not, some beefy sheet metal type screws that'll go into that plastic well. And then we're also going to cut down these harnesses and solder, and then we'll go back to the car. Alright, so I'm holding this in the position I want it. I'm going to make some holes or some marks here for my drill. Okay, so the other thing is if you look at this, it looks like this is at an angle, but this door is not square. It does have an angle up here. So even though this looks like it's tilted, it's not. I'm going by down here where the pole is for the door. So we'll see. When we get it in there, it should look nice and straight. Alright, let's go to the car and make sure it works. Okay, it fits fine in the car. I'm just going to Dremel off these screws, the length that's sticking out here, because these are pointy and I don't want them to grab anything. I'm going to be storing this in the car, so I just want that nice and flush. Okay, let me strip these guys. All right, let me do that with the other one. Okay, so now we're gonna connect these, and you can see the colors are all the same. So I didn't just trust that that was okay. I actually went to Draw-Tite's website and double checked what the wiring was for this harness, and it follows the same as the OEM harness. So white is ground, black is battery, blue is brake, and red are your lights. So after verifying that, I know that I can just go black to black, blue to blue, so on. So let me do that now. All right. All right, so now we're just going to tape up the connections. Okay, so here we go. Here's our harness. And let's go in the car and see if we're all set here. Alright, let's set this up to see what it's going to look like. Now, of course, it's pretty ugly, but it's not going to stay like that. It's only going to be like that when I tow, which is a very small percentage of the time. Just trying to figure out what I'm going to do about the wiring. Let me look at that without the camera in my way, and I'll see if I can come up with something. Okay, this is what I've got here. Okay, I've got this that goes, the harness goes up and over some wiring, so it keeps everything kind of supported. And you can see that we got it mounted at an angle. There's a little bit of an adjustment on this. I've got it tilted down as much as I can, but let's get in the car here. And you know, from the driving seating position here, I've got plenty of room. There's no interference at all. So now, one other thing, you might think, well, you know, because this is a proportional brake controller, so it actually has like an accelerometer in it, and it can tell when you're braking, and that's a mechanical device. And you might think, well, at this angle, will it work? Now, I haven't tested it yet. I haven't put my trailer on it, but according to Draw-Tite, it should work. Once you get to complete vertical, then it may not work, or it won't work. But at this angle, I was told that it should, so we're gonna have to try that out. Okay, let's demonstrate when I don't need the brake controller and I'm just gonna be using the car normally. What I'll do is I'll come over here and remove this. You kind of have to remove this to get the harness out. Okay, then I remove the harness. See if I can do it with one hand. Come on. Okay. I'll remove this. And this will get stored in the center console or in the trunk, somewhere in the car. This will go back, and this gets tucked up, as simple as that. Okay? So hopefully this helps. You know, this isn't a great permanent solution, obviously. It's pretty ugly once it's on there. But if you're only going to tow occasionally, it might be an easy way to mount this and not have to go pulling plastic off and, you know, trying to get into the panels and spend a lot of time trying to figure that out. So hopefully this gives you guys an option.